on Inner Peace, Better Health, we welcome a true phoenix, a woman who has not only faced the flames but learned to dance in them. Donna Hartley is a trauma survivor, international speaker, former Miss Hawaii, actress, and author of the Fire Up series. She has walked through six extraordinary life altering events and emerged each time with deeper insight, sharper intuition, and a message of resilience that's reached audience across five continents. If you ever question your ability to rise, Donna's story is a masterclass in courage, clarity, and conscious transformation. Welcome, Donna. I'm honored to have you on my show.
Okay, it's great to be here and share my story.
Yes, yes. Thank you. And Donna, you have lived through six traumatic yet defining events. Which one shattered you the most and which one shaped you the deepest?
I think the one that shattered me the most and put the most fear in me was cancer stage 3. But the one that changed me the most and the one that everybody wants to know about is that I was the last survivor from my section of a DC-10 airline plane crash. And
Okay.
that altered me and my whole life and the direction.
Okay, okay. That's such a, I mean, traumatic yet uh defining experience. So looking back, do you think they were meant to happen or do we assign meaning later to survive?
I think when we're off track with our life, when we're doing things that we know we shouldn't do, but we want to do them anyway, and we don't want to get on our path. I think the universe has a way of saying, okay, it's time to get on your path. Now, I was an actress in Hollywood. I was struggling. Hollywood is not honest. So it went against all my core and my belief system. So I wasn't happy, but I was working at being happy and whatever I had to do and, to get to make it. So I was at an all time low. You know, uh, my boyfriend had broken up with me. I didn't have any really money. I was struggling as an actress. And when I boarded that airplane, I said, let me die. Let my life change or never be the same. See, I'm a former Miss Hawaii and I was going back to MC the pageant. So I thought maybe this event will change my life. Well, it did, but not in the way. So I do think when we get on our path and we stay on our path, life flows. When we're fighting it and going against what we should do, then these events come in to like say, you've got a choice. Which way do you want to go? Because I could have died in minutes on that plane.
Mm. Yes, yes. And this is a really courage that you have shown and the way you survived. And also you talk about transforming trauma, not just surviving it. So what does transformation mean to you beyond just getting through?
Well, when I got back, I mean, I had 8 vertebrae out with blashed and everything, and I didn't go right to Hawaii. So, anyway, what it meant for me was, I had to change my life. So I started going in. I believe the answers that we want to know are inside of us. They're not on the outside. So that soul searching. So if anybody says they want to get better, go inside. You got to look. So I cried, I pleaded, I got on my knees, and I said, where did I go off my path? Why is it falling apart? And what do I do? So that took a lot of time to really get back to my center. So I meditated, I trusted my intuition, I went to spiritual classes, I moved out of LA, I moved to a mountain area where I live today. So those things altered it. And then I surrounded myself with people that were more grounded. I went out in nature, I hiked, I snow skied. So I had to get back to the basics instead of what I thought these other things were so important.
Yes, yes. And do you think there is something that my listeners or anybody who is listening to this podcast they can practice or start doing if they now thinks that they want to connect with their soul? Is there any specific practice that we
Sure.
can try?
Everybody wants to know all the formula, and let me give it to you down and dirty because people still don't wanna do that much work. Okay. Number 1, you have to find a way to meditate. Now, there's no simple way to do it. So, what do people need to do to really raise their vibration? That's what I call, and get out of the negativity. So, here's some of the basics. Number 1, find a way to meditate, and there's lots of meditations. So, I don't care if you use music, if you have someone guide you through, if you have a practice, do it. That's the difference. Take at least 3 times a week, minimum 20 minutes to get quiet. And some people say to me, I can't meditate. So, you know what I say to them? I go, sit outside, just be quiet, just some form of going in. Because guess what? Those answers are inside of you. That's your intuition. So, if you shut up long enough, okay, the answers will come to you. So, people say, what's the formula? I go, get quiet, meditate, go inside, the answers pop up, that's intuition. Then you have to act upon them because then people go, I don't really want to do that, what my gut just told me. Okay, so we got to meditate, develop your intuition, act upon it. The other thing is get outside in some kind of nature. I don't care if you take a walk 20 minutes a day, a half an hour, but bring in that fresh air, ground yourself, just enjoy it. Summer, winter, whatever. Okay. So getting outside. Then being grateful. People forget to be grateful. They're alive. Who said
Yeah.
life is perfect? No one. Okay. So don't look for a perfect formula. It is not going to happen. But if you're grateful for the little things, you're grateful that you have fresh fruit. You're grateful that you're going to see a friend this weekend. I'm talking about those grateful things. It starts to raise your vibration because when you study the vibration chart, it starts at 0, goes to 1,000. Okay. Mother Teresa category is about unconditional love, about 600. Forget about getting above that. But those other ones, you can get out of negativity, judging. Okay. You can move up the scale to reasoning, understanding, listening, caring. Now, you're going to slide down again, but then forgive, go back up. So the last formula I would say is forgive yourself and forgive other people. And honest forgiveness. That's the way that you can make it work for yourself and really thrive in this crazy world.
This is wonderful, and the way you have said it, described it, it's so nice. And are there stages in that process that people often rush or skip without realizing?
Okay, what was that again? I didn't understand it. Go ahead.
So is there stages in the trauma healing process? So is there some stages or some process that people often just rush or just skip without realizing that okay, this process or this stage is important?
Everybody goes through stages of healing, and we go through at our own time. Yes, one of the first stages coming up is being anger. And you've got to say, I'm angry, but how do I let go of that anger? How do I forgive the other person? How do I forgive myself? That is a lot of work. That takes, again, that quiet time. So people forget, they just stay in that angry stage.
Mm.
I'm going to blame someone else and I'm going to be a victim. So when I survived the DC-10 plane crash, I had a lot of back injury, but not enough to have surgery. So I could hold on to that anger of that plane crashed and I was on it and it wasn't my fault. It was the tires that blew and we exploded. So, or I could say, this back issue, when it comes up, is a reminder for me to live every day to the fullest. So again, it's that mindset. Now I don't have the back problem. I've let it go. Okay. So anger is one of them. Then another one is that everything happens for some awareness. So if you can look at it and say, okay, I didn't like this when it happened. I didn't approve of it, but it happened. So what can I learn from this? How can I be a better person? What is my integrity and value that comes out of this? And that's hard because we got to pick on ourselves, kind of like, to say we got to do that. So we skip that stage many times. And then we forget to rejoice and forgive and go back to living. We stay I'm sure you know many people that stay in that negativity for years
Yes.
and years and years, and I'm saying, you it's not perfect life and things happen, but you've gotta go back to the best way you know how to celebrate life. Again, I never say anything's easy, but I'm saying that's part of your destiny when you're alive to live the fullest.
Yes, yes. It's very hard, but to accept and to forgive really removes a lot of baggage from us. And that's so, so nice. And as someone who blends performance, speaking, and spiritual reading, how has your understanding of purpose evolved through this journey?
Oh boy, we all go through stages. I always say, "Oh, that was another life, but it's still this life. That was another life. That's what I did." And when I was younger, I was full of energy and I did lots of sports and I skied and I was Miss Hawaii and I was an actress. So I was really focused on me, you know, me. Then when the plane crash happened at 30 years old, I went, "Oh, there's a bigger thing to learn." And then I was really called not only to get myself clean and my energy truthful, but also to help other people. So that assignment came in, and that's where my international speaking came in. Because I'm very vulnerable on stage. I say it the way it is. I don't code it and say I've got it all worked out. I'm a work in progress, as they say. I tell them my hard parts and my good parts. So I think that it's evolved more of helping other people, but cleaning up my act first, because I can't help other people unless I am living it and enjoying it, because they're gonna see right through me. So that's the first one, and the second one is I think my purpose here till I leave this planet is to help other people raise their vibration so they can help other people. Get out of the anger, get out of the victim, start kindness, love, acceptance, joy, celebration. I know they sound simple. They're really hard to do.
Yes, yes, yes. And I think many difficulties came to your way, but the way you received it and reverted back and started helping people, it's really commendable. And thank you for that. And do you think we all have a soul mission, or does it shift as we grow?
Well, before we're born, and we come in many, many lifetimes. I'm a past life reader. So I read your past life, but I always bring it to the present life you're living right now. So that's the important part. So when you come in, you choose your parents, you choose an assignment, but you choose a mission more like, I want to overcome ego or I want to be of service. There's all different ones you can choose through. It can be a big one, it can be a little one, it doesn't matter. So I think when we start off, we get caught in the negativity of the earth energy, which is, you know, then we just manipulate this or we try that or we tell a little lie. That's not our purpose. So when we mature, we go through some changing points. Your Saturn return goes in your late 20s to early 30s, like 28 to 32. Then it happens again in your 50s, mid 50s to early 60s. So look at those periods of your life. A lot of people do shifts in their life because they get back on the spiritual path they got off. So I think you have an assignment. I think it's going to call you. You have free will. You don't have to do it. But I got to tell you, life is a lot easier doing it. When people have an addiction, they ask me, so is it important to get over the addiction right away? Say it's drugs or it's alcohol.
Mm.
I said, free will. You can take 5 years to beat that addiction. So say you've had it in many lives, or you can take 30 years. No one will judge you on the other side, but why don't you take the 5 years? More work, but why don't you face it and say, I have a problem, I need help? So again, that's where free will comes in. We learn the lesson, not judged if it takes 5 or 30. When you look back at your life from the other side, nobody judges you. You get to look at it.
Yes, yes, yes. That's so, so beautiful. And your words are so nice and stupendous, I think. And you have written books like Fire Up, Your Healing, and Fire Up, Your Intuition. Uh, which of those came first for you, and healing or listening inward?
Well, the first one is Fire Up Your Life. That's the first one. And that's about the plane crash. And it starts right in the plane crash. That's the first moment. and you meet a mentor named George. I was blessed with a man named George.
Mm,
Sounds like a very boring name, okay? But he was such a wise man. He came into my life to help me. He was assigned 12 people, and I was one of them. So he helped me understand. He didn't answer my questions. He answered it with another question, making me think. So that book's all about that. Then the second book, Intuition, big seller, because how do you develop your intuition? Everybody asks that. So George arrives in Lake Tahoe, and they're written like I talk, they're a story. And he teaches me 5 levels to develop my intuition. And then he gives me this 30-day assignment. And I give the reader that. And then something amazing happens at the end of the book.
mm,
I have put it for adoption 11 times as a single mom, and it came true because I shifted my knowing and my intuition. So that's what that book's about. And the third book is Fire Up Your Healing. So when I got cancer, I realized I had to heal with my father, my mother, my brother, and guess who I'd missed? Myself. I had to love myself enough to get better. Now, that one's a miracle because I'm stage 3. I've got all these doctors. I'm scheduled for surgery. I go to the top of the mountain skiing. I'm with my daughter. And I have this moment where I say, I asked for help and I look up at the sky. And then I say, it's not about me. Let me raise my daughter. There's nowhere for her to go.
mm.
So when I went in for surgery 5 days later, they couldn't find cancer anywhere in my body. Nowhere. So call it a miracle, call it a blessing. I'm just grateful every day is what I am. I look up and go, "Thank you." And I'm cancer free. So people don't believe miracles can happen, but they can. But we don't allow them because our fears say, "Oh, that's not rational." So that's what that book's about. And I pass on the wisdom of healing with my parents, and I give you like 32 learning lessons or 35 learning lessons in that book.
That's so wonderful. And healing and intuition both demand so deep inner listening, and it's very nice. And how can someone new to inner listening tell the difference between fear and intuition?
Oh boy, that is a fabulous question. Fabulous, because the first thing is your mind gets fearful. It's automatic. It's like, until you get past it. So, you have to test it out. When you get an intuition, you have to act upon it and say, oh, well, maybe that was my ego leading me. Maybe that was my fear. And then another time, because sometimes I'll get an intuition, don't go down that street. And I follow it. Now, I don't know if there was an accident. I don't know if the traffic was delayed, but I follow my intuition. So it's going to take time. So ask somebody to think about you and see if you then pick up the phone and say, hey, were you thinking about me, in the next 2 days, So you kind of like test it. But I sit down when I get an answer and I say, is this my fear and my ego, or is this something I should act upon? And usually through meditation, I will get a yes or a no. And if it's a no, I throw it out and go on with another way. And if it's a yes, I go forward and it might not work. And I have to go forward again. And I have to go forward again. See, that's the other thing. Many people give up. When I tell the story of Miss Hawaii, I ran 5 times in the pageant to win. And I swore I'd never run after every time. But the last time when I changed my mindset, and I said, I'm qualified. I am Miss Hawaii. I've studied. I've done my work. I'm prepared.
Mm.
And this is my time. So when I walked down the ramp, that's what the judges saw. So it's the same thing to anything else, getting a job, buying a house, in a relationship. And we kid ourselves in so many relationships. We go, perfect, perfect, perfect. Uh-uh. Really look at the relationship and the value system it's based on. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. And I think fear and intuition may feel very similar, but your words just erase all the confusion my listeners could have. So, with so much trauma in the collective today, what gives you hope about humanity's ability to transform and evolve?
Oh boy. You really can get caught in the negativity very easy with the media and everything, and I live in California. We got a lot of stuff going on in California. We are always the center, but the whole world is being affected now.
Hmm.
So, have I fallen into fear sometimes? Yes. Do I work my way out of it? Because I have to ask, there's a shift going on the earth right now.
Hmm.
This has been predicted for years and years.
Hmm.
So we have to look that the old systems we have to break down. And that's we do it the easy way or the difficult way. We're doing it the difficult way. And then we have to build new systems. How many wars have we had on this planet over and over and over again? So, as the prediction said, our nation, all the world, was first ruled by might and force and violence. Okay. Now it's ruled by law and the law systems. But our goal is to go to the part of community, working together, love, acceptance. We are not there yet, but that's where we're going. So that gives me hope. When I see these old systems breaking down, it's scary, but we have to come up with new ones. We have to be more equal. We have to work together. I'm not saying I know how to do that. I'm just saying that's where the energy has to go on this planet. And if I get better and pass it on to someone, if you get better and pass it on to someone and they pass it on, then we're starting that cycle. And that's where it has to start, ground root. So some days I get upset, but most of the time I say what I am is a light worker. I hold light. So I want to be positive in all situations.
Yeah.
And if we just do that, everybody,
Hmm.
just be more positive instead of being negative, we can start to resolve some issues.
Yes, yes. And maybe we're going through this trauma and all this, but we will evolve from this, and one day the sun will rise, definitely.
Yes.
And what would you say to someone who feels too broken to begin again?
Oh, well, there is a choice. There are a lot of people leaving the planet now because they don't want to do the work. And that's okay. They just don't want to do the work. But I've had a lot of friends in my life go through what you call that dark night of the soul, where everything goes wrong. Okay. And it's so hard for me to say to them, this is the best period of your life. You're going to get rid of all those false illusions and those beliefs. It's so hard though. And you might have to go to therapy and you might have to get new friends and you might have to cry and you might have to spend time alone. But I always believe there's hope. And
Yes.
I believe to your last breath in this cycle of life, you have got to give it your all. And your all is the best.
Yes.
Okay. But I thought of suicide in this life. So I know people go through it.
Hmm.
Okay. But when you look, if I would have died then, I'd have missed all this part of my life. So what I want to say is when those negative things happen, it is so hard, but the destiny is to wake you up, to show you you are more than these negative thoughts, that you have more value, you have more love to offer. And I say to people, you got to get out there and start giving love. I don't care if you start taking care of pets and take care of pets. I don't care if you go to the library and read books for children. You got to get out of yourself and do little, little, little steps just to take a walk, make a friend come over and say, hey, make me walk just 15 minutes. That's where you have to reach out and say, I need some help. And if your friends are your friends, they won't put you down. They will just be by your side when you're walking through those difficult times.
That's so true. And you are a proof that from the ashes a deeper voice can rise. And I think you are a wonderful person. So if my listeners want to connect with you, then what's the best way?
Well, I have a website so they can connect. It's donnahartley.com. And how they can tell, and let me just show you this. One second. Hold on. I'll show you. Okay. That. Okay. This is the top of the website. See that plane crash?
Okay. Yes.
Okay, then you're on my website, okay? And, I have emails on there, they can contact me. I do speeches, I also do past life readings. I do a lot of past life readings for people in India, I do them
Okay.
I do them all over the world. So I know the time zone there is 8.5 hours difference from my house. So, but and then there's if they want the past lives, they can figure that out and sign up for it there. So I would say the best way is go on, Google and find my website and send me an email or contact me. That's the best way.
Again, I will make sure to attach all the details and links below so that my listeners can find them easily and get in touch with you and have a conversation with you because you're a wonderful person. And this is a really wonderful conversation that we had today. And to my listeners, Donna Hartley teaches us that the path from trauma to transformation isn't linear, but it's sacred. Her journey is a reminder that pain can be the portal, that fire can be fuel, and that every scar can shine. If her story sparked something in you, don't let it fade. Share it, reflect on it, and start asking yourself, what can I rise from? Because your healing isn't just possible, it's powerful. Until next time, stay grounded, stay open, and always fire up your life.